Hey, here we are. It's another sunny day in Honolulu, which is where we're at today. We're doing things a little different. Normally, we're doing this in a studio in Las Vegas, but we thought we'd try something different here in our home turf of Honolulu. And where are we?
We're in the VIP room of a restaurant called the Surfing Pig, coming live to you from Oahu, Honolulu. Aloha to the audience out there, and good to be back.
Well, we are glad to be back, and we're not sure where in the world you are, but it's afternoon for us. You know, we just got some sunny skies, a little sprinkles this morning, but we're all good to go. My name's Stan.
And I'm Zach.
And this podcast is brought to you by Walnut Street Hospitality Group. What is Walnut Street Hospitality Group?
Walnut Street Hospitality Group is a management group that loves to assist other companies and companies that we own with business guidance, leadership guidance, consulting, management expertise, and our favorite thing, customer service.
And one of the things that we're trying to provide whoever's listening to this is to miss some of the pitfalls and mistakes that we've made and hopefully save you a few bumps and bruises. So with that being said, we always have a little bit of a topic, but before that, how do people help us out?
Oh, man. So the way to help us out is you're going to follow us on Instagram at whoclosedlastnight. Find us on Facebook at whoclosedlastnight_. Watch us on YouTube and TikTok at whoclosedlastnight_. And my favorite of them all is email your Who Closed Last Night story of the week, the month, day, your favorite thing that you just want to share with us so we could share with our audience. Send that to whoclosedlastnightpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com.
There you have it. And we would love to get, 50 of you to join us after this wonderful podcast. We're hoping. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So today's topic, the way we do this is we always have a topic and try to leave you with some interesting stories, things that might make you go, or not. And then try to leave you with, I guess what we call like a real life lesson. So today's topic is, would you rather work with a winner or a whiner?
Oh, no.
Not that there's any whiners out there, of course, but believe it or not, there are whiners. So I think one of the things that's important to us, as we work, is how we think, because we tend to surround ourselves in life with people that think like us. So we have to kind of think about ourselves as, are we a winner or are we a whiner?
That's an age-old question, I think. And it's all about perspective, right?
It is all about, well, it's mostly about perspective, but the perspective of yourself. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily consider themselves to be a whiner till they listen to themselves or think about it.
Yeah. So you the second part to this is reflecting on how you perceive yourself.
Yes. And what gets you through the day. So I think first we should define what a winner is. What do you think a winner is?
I think a winner is somebody that looks at a conflict, an obstacle, an issue, and try to look at it like a problem-solving lens, right? How can I fix this? How can I get around this? Not somebody that looks at it as an obstacle, as a dead end, as a giant brick wall, and says, "Whew, that's a brick wall. I can't get past that. Let's head home for the day."
I'm sure that when we get a little bit further into this, we're going to have some examples of brick walls that seem to be in front of us that really aren't there. But I think now that we've defined what a winner is, and again, the winner is someone who finds opportunity, creates a solution, makes a solution, either find a way or get out of the way, right? I think that's kind of the big picture.
Adjust and pivot and move.
And just plow through it. Now, what's a whiner?
Oh, man, I think it's a little bit of self-explanatory right there. But I think it's somebody that harps on the issue at hand and doesn't really look to solve it. They look to talk about why it can't be done.
I think that's exactly right. Or they want to, I kind of look at people that whine as people that bring a lot of drama to the table, right? There's always something. They always got to complain about someone, something. Something is terrible, and they're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, all the time.
Woe is me.
Woe is me. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, back off. But I think that's what a whiner is. They never come to the table with a solution. All they want to do is bitch, complain, talk about people, but never come to the table with a solution. They never want to fix their own predicament. It's always someone else's problem. That's what I think a whiner is. Would you agree?
I would completely agree with that.
So now we're at a point where we got to come up with some examples. And I got the first one. I used to work in this fairly prestigious hotel. I was the food and beverage director, and we had this director of catering. And oh my God, he was so full of drama. Everything was a problem. He wanted to talk about everybody. Oh, how come that server, did you hear that she was out drinking last night? Well, who the heck cares? Is she here doing her job now? She is.
Did she make it on time?
Did she make it on time? Is she great with the guests? Of course she is. But they always got to be talking about something. Well, so one day he went to the general manager, and obviously this is way back in my day, and said, oh, Stan, he's just, he's not cooperative.
Oh, wow.
And I said, so of course I got called into the HR office about this, and I said, well, what is it that I'm not cooperative about? And what it turned out is I didn't agree with everything he said. I didn't agree with the way he wanted to do everything. And of course, I didn't report to him. And I reminded him that I didn't report to him. And I think he felt like...
how can you collaborate if you're not open to another suggestion, idea, perspective?
Well, I think what it was is, you know, sometimes you got to do things a different way. You can't just do it the way it's always been done. Well, we used to do this. Well, we used to do that. Well, how about if we try it this way? It's a little more efficient. It's makes things a little easier.
Let's fish in a different part of the pond.
He always had something negative to say. But the thing is it wasn't just about me. It was about the company. It was, if he wasn't talking about someone, he was talking about the company. If he wasn't talking about the company, he was bitching about something. So anyway, he went, complained. After enough people complained about his demeanor and his, I guess, his attitude, because he kind of became bitchy. The general manager said, you know, maybe you don't need to work here.
I bet he didn't realize that he set the pace, the tone, or this his attitude ruffled people's feathers. People didn't follow him or didn't respect him quite as much as maybe he thought.
That's exactly what it was. So when he was approached by HR about how he spoke to people,
he got defensive.
He got defensive and quit.
Oh man!
So he took his toys, went home, didn't want to play with anyone, and I think it's kind of funny because he got a job relatively quickly, but he was used to being the king of his own hive, right?
Yeah.
And so he definitely didn't last long at his next job. And I think the moral to this story is don't be a whiner, right? Figure out a solution, figure out what you got to do. Things change, people change, make people want to follow you instead of bitch about you.
Exactly. Sometimes you got to listen to an outside source, analyze what's being said, and look at your own actions, and pivot. And it's not always about you. It's about what you're getting done and the task at hand.
How often do you evaluate yourself?
I try to evaluate myself daily, but I think sometimes whether that goes into I think there's different levels of evaluation maybe. So are you evaluating on a performance of the day? Are you evaluating a month? Are you evaluating the performance of your team that you lead? I could say there's different levels to it. I try to evaluate something every day and try to think on how I maybe could have got a different result. What about you?
I think that I kind of evaluate everything throughout the day, but I evaluate my feelings about the day every morning. When I'm on my hike or whatever it is I'm doing, that's the time when I say,
Climbing the mountain?
yeah. That's when I say to myself, why do I feel this way? And I think that in the last 3 or 4 years, I think that's been my biggest evaluation. It's not really what happened. It's why do I feel some way about what happened? And is it me, or is it the people around me, or is it just that particular situation, or did I just have a bad day? And I think that has made a huge difference in how I think about things.
Nice.
What about you? Tell me a time you were a whiner or a winner.
Well, I'll tell you a recent one about a whiner. Not necessarily about me, but we held a managers meeting weekly, and I had a manager, and this specific manager would come one week talking about being understaffed and having to work so much and not having the resources she need to get it done. And behind the scenes, I go and look at how many applications from a job posting. And, staffing is hard these days. The job market is hard. And it's all about a daily grind and a sense of urgency and being able to connect with somebody, a prospect that you want to bring on board. And you've got to set the tone for the energy. You've got to make it welcoming. You've got to make them want to come to your team. And I think that that's where this manager was failing. She'd have 50, 60 candidates, resumes, and she took her time. She had no sense of urgency to call them back, schedule interviews. This manager would think that a text message or an email, some kind of passive communication, was how she was going to catch these fish, and it wasn't working. And so she wasn't putting in the effort to make it happen. Then they weren't turning the results that she was hoping for, and every week she wasn't getting any traction on the road. And so I would say that was a whiner of someone that wasn't plowing their own field, right? That wasn't anybody else's responsibility except for this manager's. And so the way we turned the situation around is I got with an area leader, and we started scheduling interviews between him and myself, and finding candidates and bringing them in, and just took over that situation, because at the end of the day, the team was suffering. The guests might have been suffering, and that's not good for business.
So, I don't know the exact situation, but I think that person had been with us a while.
Yes.
And so there was a point when they were a winner.
Absolutely.
So what do you think happens that takes a winner and turns them into a whiner? What do you think that is?
I think, in my experience, what I've seen, especially with some of the younger leaders we've had, is that a winner turns into a whiner when they neglect some of their duties or responsibilities, and they get, there's a threshold. You get so far in the weeds, and you either got to be able to, pull your head up and your chest out and be like, oh, I'm going to tackle this obstacle. I'm going to climb this mountain and get to the other side, or you're going to take your toys and go home.
So I
What is that? Perseverance,
grit.
There you go.
That's grit, right?
Yeah.
It's all about grit. Everything is about really grit, perseverance, determination. What you allow yourself, what you allow to upset your apple cart. And I think a lot of times people get overwhelmed because all of a sudden they've let too many things slide, and
Right.
It catches up to them. and they feel like the only way out of the situation is to whine and then run.
Yes, point a finger on why you can't make it happen, and then since all these outside influences were the reason you can't find success, you walk away from success.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the moral to our discussion today is that maybe before you evaluate other people, you got to stop and evaluate yourself. You got to decide if you're a winner or a whiner. And, we probably are all winners and whiners at different times for different reasons. And so it's possible to be both, but what are you the majority of the time?
That's
And
right.
what are your triggers that send you into being a whiner? And I think you have to know yourself, and you have to take the time to understand yourself and, figure it out, and not just say, I'm a whiner, I'm a winner, but you got to move away from the whining into the winning, right? It's some people get up to that line and
Got to change
fall
some
back.
lanes sometimes.
You got to change lanes, baby.
But what you're saying is you got to know what lane you're traveling in.
You got to, and what lane you want to be in.
There you go.
And I think a lot of people don't know what lane they're in, and they don't know that there's another lane, or they don't know that, hey, there's a better way. So that's what we're saying. Evaluate yourself, quit being a whiner, be a winner. You'll make your life better, and you'll make everyone that you're around better. So now is kind of a fun part. We usually get into some comments of people. One of them was, we talked about what are you professionally and what are you personally, because anymore, when you go to a job interview, if you're on social media at all, I guarantee you that if you're going to be in a position where you're dealing with the public or you're going to lead people, whoever's hiring you is checking out your social media. They're going to look and see if you're drunk laying on the beach, and that's whatever your brand is that you've made. So we got a comment about this that says, personal and professional are separate. And I'm going to say bullshit. At the end of the day, who you are is who you are. If you're a liar outside of work, you're probably going to be a liar in work. If you're lazy outside of work, you're probably going to be lazy at work. And I'm not saying that you can't have a day where you just want to be lazy, because I think we all have those. But inherently, people are the same at work or in work. And when you're building a brand in today's world, people can find out anything about you in 5 minutes.
It's crazy because a lot of that, whatever you put out into the world, you're putting it out, right? On your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever. And why would anybody think that if you're posting, if you were posting a bunch of negative things about your current or previous employer, that it would all of a sudden change, wherever you go?
Yeah.
You didn't change, right? Your place of employment, but it might be a different environment, and it might change, right? It might have been just the position, the role, the company, but a lot of times it's your outlook on life.
I think so. It is definitely, everything comes back to you as a person, right? There shouldn't be any surprises out there when shit happens, right?
That's right.
Anyway, another one was that we talked about how today's workforce is so much more transient, right? They stay in a place for a couple months and they move on. I'm interviewing for another company, and what I'm seeing is it's October of 2024, or it's November, or whatever it is.
November 1 today.
We're in the fall. And I'm looking at these resumes, and in the last, 10 months, people are have 4 jobs. And it makes me ask myself, now, are they just going to come and we're going to go through the expense and time of training, onboarding someone, building a relationship just to have them turn around, and because they didn't like it, and it was whatever it is,
because they didn't give it a chance.
because they didn't give it a chance, or they didn't pivot, or
That's right.
they're a whiner. Anyway, so this somebody sends me this and says, "Hey, Boomer, they used to incentivize staying with the same company, pensions, more vacation, higher raises. They stopped doing. Then so did the workforce." So I'm going to say I don't believe that that's true. I think what happens is people in the workforce change. People in the workforce don't want to work too hard anymore. And so if back in our boomer days, if that's how you want to refer to it, when we had manners and we did stick around, I think it was because we knew that if we did work, I know that I didn't start out with incentives and staying in a position and pensions, and I had to create my own damn pension and work hard to get a vacation. But I did it by being someone that was reliable,
Yes.
someone that did my job excellently, and it had nothing to do, and I did it because I knew that I would be recognized for that, and then the things would come, right? Then all those benefits would come. Again, I'm going to say, it has not, first of all, if you're calling me a boomer, you must be 10. I'm not sure, but
I'm not a boomer, but so I can't speak on, the boomer generation. But what I would say is that people that work hard and make a difference still get recognized, still get taken care of. So whether or not you want to be in that lane or on that boat or part of that team is really the decision you're making, right? Because those people still get taken care of, I'm sure, in each company. Why wouldn't the best resource of whatever team, why wouldn't they want to take care of that person?
I think one of the things, though, is there are companies out there for sure, right?
Oh.
That
Even back in the boomer days, I'm sure.
That's exactly right. That there are always companies where
Way back in the boomer days.
where they don't take care of people, they don't recognize people, and I believe that that's just everywhere you go, right? And
Unfortunately.
And in any time frame. Anyway, we must move along, and we're at that point now where we're about to end this particular episode, and we like to say with gusto, aloha.